As I am working on my two reviews, I thought of not letting you wait too long, so I thought why not show you how to make a simple Celtic knot cane. So what you need two colors, and you need to make a Skinner blend out of those colors. Then once your Skinner blend is done, you have to actually stack it in 4 on the thickest setting. The cane is very simple. You start, it doesn't matter if you calculate in centimeters, if you calculate in inches, in a quarter inch, in whatever. You start with the thickness of this stacked Skinner blend as being the unit that you are going to calculate after. You need the Skinner blend to be wide 4 units and long 8 units. So that piece I calculated in centimeters is 1 centimeter thick, 4 centimeter high, and 8 centimeter long. And you will be using practically in the cane the side where the Skinner blend is on. Then you put a thin layer, so on the thinnest setting, of a different color that should be related to the Skinner blend but darker, or you can actually use black, and you put it only on the sides of the Skinner blend. There is a way to make this whole cane look very 3D, but I thought of showing you the simplest way to make it first. So once you get this ready and you have your Skinner blend covered on both sides by the darker color, and you need the darker color for a little bit more dimension. I mean, you can leave it like this, but it will not look that good. It's a good idea to line the Skinner blend. That once you have done that, then you choose your background color. And with a background color, you go again. Now remember, the thickness of the Skinner blend is the unit, okay? And the Skinner blend piece is 4 units tall and 8 units long. On your background color, you need to make, you keep stacking it, and you need to make 2 cubes that will be 2 units. So in my case, 2 centimeters tall, 2 centimeters long, 2 centimeters wide. And you keep stacking until you get your dimensions properly. And again, it doesn't really matter what color it is. I chose yellow because I had more yellow and I start running out of white. And I wasn't able to go because I had so much stuff to do. So you see, it's 1 centimeter. Then I will make those cubes 2 centimeters. So 2 centimeters long, 2 centimeters wide, 2 centimeters high. Um, Essentially, the cane is not very difficult as long as you follow the measurements. It's actually very, very easy to make. The only thing is to do the measurements. While I'm cutting that, let me explain to you. You'll have to make a second a Skinner blend, the same, but covered only on one side, and it has to be only also 8 units long, but it's not 4 units wide, it's only 2 units wide. So you'll have to kind of uh, squeeze your Skinner blend. Okay, once you have your cubes, one of them you will use it as is. And you cut your Skinner blend in 4. So you'll have it 4 units long, but this time it will be only 2 units wide. And you need the Skinner blend to be on the 4 units side. Then one of the, make sure that you have your cubes very, very well, you know, the 2 units on all sides. And I will show you in a minute what I mean about the squeezing the Skinner blend. And you do it on a Skinner blend also to give a more of a depth illusion. You can do it without a Skinner blend, obviously, but with a Skinner blend, you'll give more of a depth illusion. And I just thought that it looks a little bit like wood. That's why I used the, that's latte and the cowboy souffle, and then that's souffle cannery, and then I used burnt umber to for the lining, the Premo burnt umber. So now I have my cubes ready, and again, as I said, one of the cubes I will use it as is. The other one, you cut it on a diagonal, both ways. Make sure that you make the cuts really good, not skewed. And now we start assembling the cane. You make sure that you put the darker side of the Skinner blend on the corner, and you just arrange the Skinner blend pieces like this. So always start with the darker side and with the lighter side being outside. Then place the triangles that you've cut from the second cube like this. And then at this point, you will need, in a second, you'll need to make your second Skinner blend. Bend the Skinner blend over the triangle to reach the top. Don't worry that it's not going up. It's fine. Just make sure, and it should be perfectly aligned on the triangle. So now we only need the second Skinner blend, and see what I was talking about, squeezing it, make it to be only 2 units wide. Don't let it get wider than that. And once you get it 2 units wide, you do exactly the same as you did for the other one. You just keep making it longer so you can stack it, because you will need again uh, 8 units, because it has to be 2 units on all sides, except for the thickness of the Skinner blend, that's 1 unit. So it's going to be 1 unit thick, 2 units long, 2 units wide, and then it will fit just fine. So you run it through the pasta machine on the thickest setting, and then you stack it in 4, exactly like you did with the first one. So as I did 1 centimeter the unit, so I need the stacked one to be 8 centimeters long. So I can cut 4 2 centimeters pieces out of it. So again, it doesn't matter what unit you use, it's going to be the same. 1 unit thickness, 8 units long that you cut, 2 units wide, and then you cut in 4 pieces of 2 units each. And as I said, you only line it up on one side. You don't, this one you don't line up on both sides. And make sure when you line up, of course, make sure that you don't have any air pockets trapped between the lining that's on the thinnest setting and the Skinner blend itself. Then cut a strip that would be 2 units wide, and you will definitely need about 8 units length, but what you're interested in is to be 2 units wide. And you can eyeball, but then you can eyeball not very accurately like I did. You'll see in a minute, and I have to cut some more. So cut this Skinner blend also in 4, each piece of 2 units. And this is the only thing. You have to be very, very accurate with the measurements for your cane to come up right. Now, take the lining and line only that little portion of the yellow triangle that is not in contact with anything else. That's the only portion that you need to line. And you don't really need to measure. Just make sure that it reaches both the existing Skinner blend lining and the next one, so that the triangle is all wrapped in the darker color. And yes, I made this cane fairly big because I wanted you to be able to see exactly how it's formed and to get a feeling of the measurements. So once you did that, you get the other pieces, and again started with the darker side and with the wrapped part facing outwards. Set it perpendicular on the other Skinner blend and then bend it over the triangle. So it would line the triangle on the other side. Let's see how the Skinner blend now gives an illusion of depth. And now all you do is just to pinch together the two Skinner blends on top of the triangle. Make sure if you need to put another little piece of the wrapping, that's fine. Just make sure that the two Skinner blends are perfectly pinched together and everything is covered with the wrapping color. And don't let it get too thick. Now, I forgot to tell you, don't throw away any of the little cube things that you had in the background color because you will use them now. You see, cut one of the smaller cubes that you have left over, again in diagonal, and then use those little triangles to fill the space between the four Celtic Knot corners. And make sure that space is well covered. If it gets a little bit too much, you can trim it. Then what you need is your make sure that your wrapping is the proper width. Trim if you have any of the triangles that are between the corners, and you can add if any of the triangles is not fully covering to make a straight line. And then pinch a little bit more the corners to make them not round, but pointy before placing the wrapping. And pressing down helps a little bit, but you will still need to kind of pinch those corners to make them pointy. And that is very easily achieved. That's not difficult at all. You can use two pieces to kind of help you into making sure that you don't have any air pockets at this point before starting to work on the pinching of the corners. But as I said, you will have to pinch at one point to make sure that you have pointy corners and perfectly square cane to work with. And once you have all that straightened up, because you need to have perfectly straight lines between the four corners, then wrap it twice. So that's on the thickest setting with the background color. You don't need to wrap it more than once. Now, I have to tell you, there is a way to make that Celtic knot really long. I mean, as a line, not as a square. And maybe one day I'll show you that, how to do that. So here's a cane, and of course you start now reducing it, and yay, I got cane caps from Pandora. But I'll show you just a little bit the cane caps in this one. I'll show them to you more detailed when I'll do the translucent canes. And right now I actually need to reduce my cane a little bit more because the cane caps are too small for this huge a cane. But as I said, I made it big so you can see exactly what I'm doing and get the feeling of the measurements that you need to do. Of course, I will not show you how I'm reducing it all the way, but I'll show you how to place the cane caps, because you need to have the cane not go beyond the edges of the cane cap. And I'll actually put a link to Teresa Salgado's Tiny Pandora's tutorial video on how to use these cane caps. But they are absolutely wonderful because you get a very, very little bit of your cane that gets lost. Your cane stops, you know how you get either the edges protruding and the center stays behind, or the center is protruding more rarely and the edges stay behind. But with this, only the little bit that's in contact with the cane caps doesn't get reduced, but everything else stays where it is. You don't have any more, you don't have that much clay loss anymore. And yes, I'm still showing you a bit of reduction. But as always, everybody who is experienced in making canes will tell you never be in a hurry when you reduce a cane, because that is when you will uh, start losing or distorting your pattern. Always take your time. If you need to use the roller on the cane, don't do more than 2 passes before turning the cane around. Okay, now I have my cane small enough to fit the cane caps, and I can start reducing it to the point that I will be able to use the roller on it. So see, I'm not using the roller more than twice on each side, and then I turn the cane around. And I like to check from time to time to still do a little bit of squeezing in the middle. Make sure that all the area of the end of the cane is stuck to, is in contact with the cane cap, because if it's not, that might deform your pattern. So just keep reducing, either by using your hands, your fingers, the roller, however you're used to reduce your cane. But see how it's only a small area right near the cane cap that doesn't get reduced, but also there's nothing pushing out and nothing left behind. That is the most important thing. That is why these cane caps are so awesome. See how I'm not losing anything. Everything stays in place. And I can reduce my cane without worries of deforming, without worries of wasting a lot of clay and all that. But yeah, and this is my cane reduced. I will cut it in half, and I will actually keep one half like this and then another half. I will reduce it later, but this is how you get a simple Celtic knot cane. Happy claying!